There are lots of different styles of shafts in VexIQ. There's metal shafts that come in all kinds of sizes. Then there's plastic shafts, and some of them have a capped head or nail head. Some have a little ridge. That's a motor shaft because the ridge is just in the right spot to hold it in the correct position to hook a motor. And they come in all different lengths. Some of the metal ones come in really long lengths. When you're attaching a shaft to a motor, the motor has a little square hole, and that's what the motor turns. So your shaft has to be in that hole, and it doesn't go in very far. It's about 1/4 of an inch maybe. And you just have to turn your motor side to side until it's locked onto that shaft. And one common problem is that when you put a shaft into a motor, there's nothing to hold it in place. So there's several ways you can hold it in place. One way is to use a capped shaft, the plastic shafts with a little ridge partway down. Those capped shafts, then you can put a gear and just a rubber stopper on it, and it will hold that in place tightly. So the first example is held in place with simply the ridge on the motor shaft and then a rubber stopper on the other side. The second one has a shaft bushing at the end, and then we've got a standoff holding it in place with just a little 4-piece. You can put a plate or whatever you want to on the other side. My favorite way is this last way with a metal shaft. The metal shafts are stronger. You can put a rubber stopper inside, and that will just lock it in place. These are sprockets. They have a square in the middle for a shaft. These are gears. They also have the square in the middle so they can move with a shaft. And these are lock plates. Those are the only pieces that have squares and can move. So here's a brain with a motor and a shaft. We can put a regular piece on there, and you can see that it doesn't turn with the shaft. If we put a lock plate on it, however, then it turns. Now we can put a sprocket like this one, and that will turn. You could also use a gear, just like that. You've got to watch out for those capped shafts and those with a motor ridge because they're really hard to get out because they've got those ridges. And so if something's really hard to pull out, even with your pliers, make sure you take it apart and try pulling it from the other side because those little ridges are never going to come out from the other direction.